Hey, it's Scott Fox. We're here today to talk about sex in the second half of life.com. This is a personalized expert website review for Masterminds member Dr. David Garling. David's been creating this new website, and this is a really interesting video, I think, because we're going to talk about a site that's new, really at the early stages of development. So we're not trying to fix something that's broken. We're actually getting the chance here to go inside and help David structure a new business, a new site, a new blog so that it can make him some money on his way to becoming a click millionaire. So David, thanks for ordering this from expertwebsitereviews.com. Let's talk about this website of yours and see what we can do to make sure you're on the right path towards click millionaire style success. So the website is on a very interesting and popular topic. I think that's a really good idea, of course, to have something that people are interested in. David, we've had some private coaching calls, and you're a mastermind member also, so we've talked about this in the private masterminds forum. It's really critical to work backwards from where there's customer demand rather than trying to come up with something of your own and then foisting it upon people who may not be interested. Pretty much everybody has an interest in this topic, so I think that's a good idea, a very good start. So we'll talk today. I have a bunch of suggestions on the website, but these are more specific tweaks on a tactical level. I think the strategy here is a pretty good one. You're addressing older adults who are trying to improve their sex lives and have a better time in bed, and that's something pretty much everybody's interested in. So good start there. So take the rest of this as frosting on top of the cake. You've got the cake headed in the right direction, I think, to mix a bunch of metaphors there. Anyway, so my first concern, now we're going to talk more about concerns than on positives here, right? That's what we do with these expert website reviews. My first concern is the three-letter word that drives this whole thing, which is SEX. Now, obviously, I don't know how you could address this topic without using that word, all right? So I don't know that there's a way around this. And we can talk about this more in the forum, or if you want to book some more phone time with me, we could kick it around. But anyway, that word it's a danger word for internet businesses because so much pornography and spam is associated with sex. So if you try to market this site, you're going to be out there posting, say on Facebook, or trying to send out emails, or blogging about it, asking other people to share your posts. Well, the titles of all those posts are likely to contain, again, that three-letter word, SEX. And it's a fine word, but it is one that has been really abused online. So those emails might get blocked by spam filters. Facebook probably has very tight filtering controls of its own. If you tweet about this or Pinterest or what, any of these channels are specifically have specifically put in place tools to block people that talk about this topic. Now, that doesn't mean the topic isn't a good one and that it shouldn't be discussed. It's just a structural issue with marketing something like this that I don't have a good answer to be honest. So I would spend a little time Googling around and seeing if you can figure out what other people in this area have done, because clearly there's a lot of money being spent and a lot of money being made marketing this kind of stuff, okay? And you say in your submission that you're interested in selling, at least starting out with some special reports, downloadable PDFs, that sort of thing, $5 at a time, that sort of thing, and that all makes good sense to me. I just have never tried to market this kind of thing myself, and it just concerns me that it may be even harder than it needs to be. The problem is I don't know of any middle ground. There's no synonym for that word that you could get away with that would make sense to the readers, that would also get through the spam filters. Why? Because all the pornographers have tried all that stuff, right? So that's something that needs some thought before you go much further, some research, and see what other folks are doing and try to figure this out. There's probably some in-betweens. Again, if you want to talk about this, let's book another call or come into the forum and masterminds, and we'll talk about it and figure out how to get you over that hurdle. Okay, so I think I made my point there. Next. So the goal is really a good one, especially with your credibility as an actual medical doctor. You have great experience in this. You're also, by your very nice picture here, it looks like you're over 40 as well. So this is something you have personal experience with, as well as an MD and a PhD. So the credible kind of person people would take seriously here. That's a great advantage, obviously. So how do we make the website itself attractive and bring in the sort of activity and conversion of visitors into customers that you want? Well, as you said in your post to me, you only have one blog post up yet. You're thinking about a blogging approach, and I think that makes sense to publish articles about this stuff so that you can attract search engine traffic. Again, the other part of that is getting people to share your information, and that may be a little tricky given the topic, but we're tabling that for a moment. But the blogging approach, I think, makes sense. So, and as you admitted, you only have one topic or one post so far, but I can see you've set up this long list of different types of topics, and that seems fine, perhaps even overkill. But the key to most blogs is really, what have you done for me lately, right? So it's going to be about the home page. So this bit on the recent posts here, I would ask your designer to make this more interesting, and you're probably going to want to feature individual posts. It's graphics that drive click-throughs in a lot of cases, and so I think you need more than just this little title line that we have here, so that people know, oh, this is new, it's fresh, oh, here's a picture that caught my eye, here's the title, oh, okay, that's what I want to go for. I do think you're on the right track in terms of having some discussion here as to what you're about, what your mission is. I would make it a little more exciting, but that's a copywriting issue, which again we can talk about in the forum or on a call or whatever. But this kind of layout, I think, is the right approach. Where I do have concerns and suggestions for you is, first of all, this huge graphic. You're using some sort of theme, I would guess, that has this standard sort of header. I hate these kind of themes. They seem to be designed by graphics people who don't have any concern for business, and when you put up this huge picture, unless it's an ad for something that you're going to make money for, unfortunately it's a massive waste of space. This is exactly what people want to see, where they're going to come and read, and they're going to come, oh, what a nice sunset. Gone, right? You need to use this space as a business, not just to post postcards. So I would get rid of this. It's a complete waste of space. I like the mood setting that you're doing. I totally get that. But it doesn't have to be, I mean, it's like, what, 3 by 9 inches? I mean, you got like 27 square inches of sunset. Unless you're selling sunsets, this is a no-no. So what to do instead? Well, you can still set the mood, as it were, with a picture, but it could be like a quarter of this size and still get the point across. What I would do is create a banner and take the name you have up here. See, I'm trying to drag this on here. Sex in the Second Half of Life, Enhance Your Sexual Joy, and lay that on top of a small picture. And you could actually literally almost cut out, see, you have about 1 inch high here by whatever that is, 10 inches across. You could lay those words on this and use this as a banner, move that up towards the top, and then all this stuff means that all your commercial stuff, which is all this, can move up. That's what you need to do. You need to use your space a lot better. So on that topic, and that's going to be the theme here in terms of structural suggestions, different and better ways to use the space of your website. So the search box, you don't have anything to search yet, so I don't think that's important. It will take you a while before you have anything worth searching, and even when you do, unless that's something that you want to drive people toward, this is not what I would use this space for. This space is too important. This is one of those tools usually that's part of the theme that your designer's using, so they check the box, it looks there, and it's like, cool, instant functionality. I'm all for easy and good functionality, but I don't think it needs to be there. The upper part here, what they call above the fold, needs to address your top goals. So that's really the question here, David, and for your designer as well. What are your 3 top goals for a visitor? Or maybe 4, but not 17 and not just 1. And none of those goals is look at the pretty picture or do a search when I don't have anything or click on my disclaimer, which has got this massive central posting, right? A disclaimer is certainly appropriate in this context, given your medical background. But your most prominent things right now when I visit are, okay, a pretty sunset. Okay, what? Oh, no, I don't want to. That's not going to help me sell anything. A search, there's nothing to search for. Okay, so you've got the pieces, but they need to be rearranged. So what to do instead? Well, like I said, I don't think your banner should be any bigger than this. You've got a gray line here anyway. Your banner and image should be about this big, and that's about it in my book. Literally in my books, like the 3 on the wall behind me here. So shrink that. Think real heavily about what is important here. About us may be important, but I don't know that it rises to this level of importance. What I think is great is your photo. Even that's a little big for my taste. You know, it establishes credibility. You might want to even have one taken, if you don't have it already, of you in a doctor's lab coat, right, in the white coat. That would convey even more official doctorness. Since you have that credibility, you might as well play the card. But the rest of the about, I think I would just merge in with your photo here, like in a sort of sidebar, more about me, like here. Make this a link, or make the whole photo a link. But even this is pretty big. Contact us, maybe down in the footer. Disclaimer, definitely down in the footer. This is repetitive with this little magnifying glass, repetitive with your search box. One or the other, certainly not both, certainly not above the top of the fold at the top of the screen. So what should be there is your title, a small logo graphic banner to set the mood, and then all this space, well, I'm drawing circles here, 1, 2, 3, maybe different things that are not even this tall, but call out what you want the customer to do. Welcome, here's our mission. Some text like this is good. I would make it a little more specific about what you're offering. This is kind of a nice essay about this is more like an about us, like why you're doing this, right? But what's in it for me? Welcome to the site. Our mission is to get you laid more often, have more fun, and increase your performance. I don't know. You see, all that sounds really spammy and pornography really quickly. So it's a fine line you're choosing to walk here. But you need to be specific. You know, talking about published data that's contrary to what the media presents is a good backstory, but that's not sales copy, right? So I think this is maybe on the About Us page, or maybe you have a paragraph down here. This, you know, why we do what we do here at this website, that kind of thing. But this needs to be a little more specific. Here's what I got for you. Here's how it's going to solve your problem. And here, and I like this, I'm brainstorming myself here. Here are the problems I can help you solve. And you have that kind of, you're thinking about that here, I can see. And you even mentioned it in your email to me. But you need to be specific with that text. And that text should be either right here or in one of the sort of columns here. And what you really need is graphics about this stuff. And I know this is early days, so I'm not picking on you. I'm trying to point you in the right direction. You're going to need some graphics, and they can't be too graphic, and they can't be too anything. Again, you're walking a pretty narrow path here. But some of them should be sexy. Or erotic, and entice people into clicking on more. So you've got space here for 3 or 4 offers, like I said. So one should be, here's my ebook. Another should be a discussion of, here are the specific problems or blog posts that are most important for these top 6 problems or whatever, or one problem, maybe they rotate. And one should be your email address collection. And you have that, which is good. You're ahead of a lot of people. A lot of people miss that part. But it is way down here. And I think it needs to be up at the top because this is the most important thing on the page, not to be down at 4 o'clock on the page. It needs to be up at midnight or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, up in here somewhere, like where the search box is. Because that is really what you're doing this for, is to build an asset of an email list that you can market to repeatedly. The number of people that will come to you and buy on the first visit is small, but if you can get a larger number of those subscribing to your emails and then follow up with them nicely, politely over time, then you can convert more of them over time. So you're not going to do that unless this email address collection becomes a prominent feature of the site and really helps you convert these visitors into email subscribers. All right, so let's see, what else? Yeah, a couple big offers up here. Your photo might be one of them, and your credentials maybe a little smaller, but it kind of depends on the layout and the size of things that you work out with your designer as to how you want to lay this out. Recent posts, I think, is important. Let's talk about usability for a second. That's a big one here. I don't know how this looks on mobile. I didn't look, but I did notice that it resizes nicely on a width basis, which is good. So I think you're using some sort of responsive theme, which is thumbs up to the designer, because you want this to resize appropriately for people who are on mobile devices or tablets. What you do need to do, though, one of the first things for mobile is to make the font bigger. This is very small font, and especially if you're targeting folks over 40 or 50, the fonts need to be bigger. And They also need to be a little darker, and this is one that a lot of folks miss, especially because a lot of web designers are young. These small fonts are hard to read, but also the contrast is very important. This gray on white would be much improved for older folks by having it be simply black. The darker the better. And thicker fonts also. These are very thin and small and light colored. Those are all kind of no-nos if you want older folks to be able to read it easily. And you do want older folks to be able to read it easily. So I would pump up the font size, darken the contrast, and maybe even use a slightly different theme. This is a nice readable theme. I don't know it offhand, but it's attractive, so maybe it will look bigger when it's darker and look better when it's bigger and darker, and you'll be fine. But if not, you might even want to pick one that's a little thicker. Next, I would underline this stuff. I am on a personal mission to encourage designers to underline things. You can't tell what's a link here, and actually that points out there are no links in this. This paragraph should have some links to deeper in the site that will help Google find things and help people find things as well. These, you can see there's a little blue thing that shows up above them. That's kind of cute, and I guess that's good enough, but I'd rather see them underlined because that's what people are trained to look for. I know it's not as clean and cool, but the problem is that when you come down places like this, you don't even know this is a link unless you roll over it, and the contrast isn't even very much. For an older person with a skinny font and a change from dark gray to blue is hardly a large contrast. So I would ask your designer to, it's pretty simple CSS. You can make all the links on the site be underlined, and then people know what to click on. Similarly here, sexuality in addition to bracket, ellipsis, bracket. Not very compelling. Come on, how about click here for more or something? You need to make this obvious that this little guy is a link. Actually, maybe it isn't even a link. So what am I supposed to do with this? I don't even know that there's a blog post here, except that it says comments, and there's 0, obviously, but this needs to be underlined, and this all needs to be bigger, I think. And ideally, the posts would each, when they are posted to the home page, they would be accompanied by a graphic that is from that post, but in a thumbnail size or something, so that there was more eye candy here. There's a lot of certainly visual appeal to sex, right? Little eye candy would not hurt, and I think you're going to want to think about, in terms of your budget, allocating a certain amount of money for stock photos that are right on the edge of titillating, but you're probably not going to want to spring for custom photo shoots, although that might be fun too. That's not the goal here, I don't think. So you're probably going to want to have some good graphics that illustrate each of those posts, and those should be called out to the front page, along with the links being more prominent to make each of the posts that you invest your time in more obvious to visitors. All right. Okay, how are we doing here? Let's see. Well, that's almost 20 minutes already. Let's see. Keywords you have not worked through in depth. The ones you suggest are probably right. That's worth doing. We can certainly talk about that more in the forum to help you find the right keywords. You want to work those keywords in moderately in this sort of text, of course. Not too much, but it certainly won't hurt you. And you also want to use them when you link internally from one page to another. That certainly helps Google crawl the site more thoroughly and index it correctly. The email offer, I would suggest you're going to get a lot more subscriptions if you offer them something. If you're asking for the email address, maybe your first ebook is not one for sale, but one that offers a couple of tips for free. But you offer that as an incentive to get them to give you their email address. That's a nice quid pro quo. People kind of expect it these days. And then you can also have a graphic of that ebook or the free tip sheet or whatever you want to give them, a coupon, whatever. You'll have a graphic that you can use to illustrate this, and it makes the whole email sign-up box more visually, eye-catching. That's the word I'm looking for, eye-catching. I would get rid of this unsubscribe box. I don't think I've ever seen one of those. I don't know why you would want that, especially since it's in the place where most people will click. You're going to have usability problems here. People are going to enter their emails, and then they're going to click unsubscribe, and they're going to be very confused very quickly. So I'd get rid of that. Your unsubscribe instructions should be in every email you send, so that isn't necessary on the website at all. All right, well, there we go. Let's see. That's about 20 minutes. Let's just let's click through here. The contact us. I saw that you had a page set up with a form. That looks about right. The about us, there we go. A lot of words in small font. Again, I think you're going to need to get in the habit of using headers bolds and larger case that introduce topics. People browse on the internet. They don't really read until they're intrigued, and the way to get them intrigued is to give them some headlines. So I would hit this with, my mission, more about me, how to get involved, how to make your sex life better. Give each of these things some pop so that people can scan quickly, and it just looks more visually interesting. You can see this is all sort of, it's very tasteful, but it's all sort of one color palette, very restricted palette, very small font, kind of hard to read. The whole thing should be, sorry to say it, a little sexier. So I'd bump it up all a little bit. All right. Last, let's talk about the header. We talked about it graphically. Again, I have some concern about the URL just because of those first 3 letters. I don't know how to get around that. It is what it is. It's rather long. I don't know if there's a way you could shorten this, but that might be worth brainstorming in the forum. I think it's very descriptive, which is good, but it wouldn't kill you to put the .com on there just to get your branding together. And then the tagline, I think the tagline's pretty good, but it is very abstract. If you want to sell a little more, I would go with something. I like it a lot. I'm just trying to enhance your sexual joy. Well, this is too commercial and obvious, but by reading this blog, or by buying my products, or give them an action. Enhancing is great, and clearly that's the long-term goal. But people, when they land on a site like this, they need to know what do you want me to do? What am I expected to do? There's no you, other than your picture, of course, standing there to say, well, go click here because this is where the good stuff is. You have to kind of give them those suggestions. So a great way to do that is right from the top. When they land on the site, well, what's this site about? Oh, enhancing my sexual joy by X, Y, and Z, right? You might just think about expanding that. We can kick that around in the forum as well. I know from our previous private coaching calls, you've got a great education and a big strategic picture and vision on the world. But let's get specific here. When somebody arrives, what's in this for me? Oh, you'll solve this kind of problem. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to give you my email address here or buy this. Okay, well, I'll give you my email address because you're going to give me this thing, and then I'll see if I like you, read your emails, and then maybe I'll buy your stuff. That's the typical transaction that goes on, right? And I use the word transaction on purpose because that's what's happening. They're giving you their attention, and you need to tell them what you're going to do with it and how to behave now that they've arrived. So I think just a little more clarity on the copywriting. We can kick that around. A little more clarity, a little enhancement on the sort of branding and calls to action, and most especially a hierarchically driven reorganization of the homepage can help you funnel people towards the actions you want them to take. What you don't want is to have people come in and say, oh, that's pretty, click around a little, not be sure why they're there, and then leave, right? You want them to come in and say, oh, I was looking for this. Oh, there it is. Oh, you can help me with it. Okay, I'm buying that. That's what the goal is, to help make you a click millionaire, David. All right, well, I hope that's helpful, and we'll talk about it more in the forum. And since you're a Masterminds member, happy to talk to you there. Or you can book another private coaching call with me, and we'll go through it personally. And anybody else that's watching this later, please check out sexinthesecondhalfoflife.com. Sounds like it's on its way to being an important resource for you by a guy who really is qualified to talk about this stuff, unlike most people on the internet who are self-made experts. But this is Dr. David Garling, and he's putting up a site to help you, and I hope you'll check it out. And if you'd like a website review like this for yourself, I'm Scott Fox from Click Millionaires and also from expertwebsitereviews.com. And I'd be happy to help you with an expert website review to help you get your business on its way to making you a Click Millionaire too. Thanks for watching.